Ben Stiller candidly opened up about his famous father's final moments. When Seinfeld star Jerry Stiller passed away, his equally famous son Ben was naturally devastated. But the younger Stiller also wanted to tell the world about his father's legacy. During an in-depth interview with magazine The New Yorker, Ben discussed Jerry's last days and the relationship between father and son. Now, it had been Ben who first announced the news of Jerry's death. On May 11, 2020 he wrote on Twitter, "I am sad to say that my father, Jerry Stiller, passed away from natural causes. He was a great dad and grandfather, and the most dedicated husband to and for about 62 years. He will be greatly missed. Love you Dad." As you would expect, there was both sorrow for Jerry's passing and sympathy for the Stiller family. For instance, actor Perry Shen tweeted, "I had the honor of working with your dad on The King of Queens. After I was canned, your father talked to the producers and got me my job back. When I thanked him, he said, hey, it's not Shakespeare, a class act and a legend. Actress Julia Louis-Dreyfus wrote on her account, "He was so funny and such a dear human being. We loved him." Show creator Jerry Seinfeld tweeted simply, "Jerry Stiller's comedy will live forever." Then Jason Alexander, who played Jerry's on-screen son, wrote on Twitter, "Such sad news that my beloved friend, Jerry Stiller, has passed. He was perhaps the kindest man I ever had the honor to work beside. He made me laugh when I was a child and every day I was with him. A great actor, a great man, a lovely friend." If you didn't already know, Jerry Stiller had been a well-respected comedic actor before Seinfeld. Yes, in the 1960s he was a double act with his wife, Ben's mother, Ann Mira. And the two of them appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show and even had their own sitcom. Of course, they also had children, Ben and his sister Amy. So when Ben spoke to The New Yorker after Jerry's death, he took some time to remember both his parents and their relationship. He recollected, they were very different people, but they were so devoted to each other. A very beautiful and imperfect relationship, as every relationship is. And so that was our life. And it was part of all of it for us. In the interview, Ben remembered that when he was a young boy he performed in a play for his father, and observed his reaction. He said, I remember him having this big smile. It wasn't a laugh, but it was him just appreciating seeing his kid performing. I think he just loved seeing his kids act, and do their thing. Of course, when Ben made it big in Hollywood he remembered to bring his father along for the ride as well. Yes, the pair of them appeared in multiple projects together, including Zoolander and its sequel, Zoolander 2, Anchorman and The Heartbreak Kid. In some cases they played father and son on screen, too. During the interview Ben remembered when he and Jerry had appeared on Late Night with Conan O'Brien back in 1996. The pair of them had done a sketch for the show where Jerry dragged a reluctant Ben out onto the stage and jokingly fought with him the rest of the night. Ben said, when my dad died, I was looking at some old clips of the two of us on Conan, like 25 years ago. And I look at myself, like, what was I thinking? Who is that person? And I am remembering that of course I wanted my dad on there with me, because I knew my dad would be funny. And I would dread the talk show appearances, and it was like cheating to ask him to come and help. Indeed, and the younger Stiller mused on how Seinfeld had brought his father's talents to a new generation. He said, I think Seinfeld really changed his life, because he was at a point in his career where the phone wasn't really ringing. And he and my mom had really stopped working together. Ben continued to explain to The New Yorker, so, for someone who's thrived on work and thrived on being funny and having an interaction with an audience, it really changed everything for him. I read in one of the obituaries that he had only done about 25 shows in the whole series. And, given the fact that he made such an impact, I hadn't even realized that. Then the magazine asked, what were the last few weeks like? Was his sense of humor there at the end? And Ben responded, he was just slowing down a lot, and he was dealing with a lot of issues. And so the last week or two were tougher for him. But he went peacefully, and he had a sense of humor, for sure, until the end. But Ben added, I hesitate to call it a sense of humor. He was just funny, and so he was always himself. He was almost 93, and I think his body was kind of at that point where it was time. Indeed, the elder Stiller had previously been admitted to hospital in 2019 for what was labeled a health scare. Ben mused, especially now, I think, having both of them gone now. I feel like what I take away from them is this deep love and support that they always had. At the end of the day, it's what you have inside, what you feel inside of your parents, that you keep with you. And so I hope, at the end of the day, that's what I can leave my kids. That interview wasn't the only one Ben did about his father's passing. He also appeared on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, keen to have the chance to talk, and there he shared stories about some of the funniest moments he had with Jerry, and also talked about what he was like as a grandfather. The younger Stiller went on, I have to say it's been really heartwarming to see how much he touched people, how beloved by people he was. I knew that, but really when something like this happens you really feel it. I know this would have made him feel great, as a kid from the Lower East Side who grew up very poor during the Depression. Furthermore, Ben mused, I just think about that because he was so in real life he was so quiet and sweet, but underneath he had he was kind of like this volcano underneath. He had a lot of emotion, and that would come out on Seinfeld, in these characters, but it never really came out in real life. Ben told The New Yorker, that's what I think is the beauty of his career, and his life, that he had this incredibly long career that ended in a great way. And nobody has to be reminded of what he died. His work is going to live on. To me, that's the beauty of what he did.